welcome back to Gapey's Garden. Today we're going to be repotting this little fig cutting that I started, I think it's been about 5 months ago now, that I got from Ivy Organics in the mail. And you want to wait until your fig roots are really filled out in the cup before you repot. That's why I like using these clear cups for rooting figs, because you can actually see the roots and how well that they're developed. So when you repot, you want this to hold together when you take it out of the cup so that it disturbs, or it doesn't disturb the roots very much when you're repotting. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we need to do is prepare our potting mix. So what I'm using here is this Pro Mix, which I picked up at Walmart. It's a pretty basic potting mix. It's got sphagnum, peat moss, cocoa coir, perlite, ground limestone, a wetting agent, and there's some mycorrhiza in there as well. But I'm going to be adding a little bit more mycorrhiza. This is the Myco Bliss, but you can find this stuff on Amazon or probably locally. But all you need is about 1 to 2 teaspoons per gallon. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit into the potting mix, maybe a teaspoon or so, since we've already got a little bit in the Pro Mix. And then for fertilizer, so the Pro Mix doesn't have any, or this particular brand of Pro Mix doesn't have any fertilizer, so I'm going to be adding a little bit of Osmocote, which is a slow release fertilizer. So I'm just going to add maybe about 3/4 of a cup to the mix. And then I'm also going to be adding a little bit more perlite. There is some perlite in there already, but I'd like to add a little bit more. So probably a cup or so. And I think that is all I need to add here. So this mix is very dry, so I'm going to be adding some water to this before I put it in the container. But I'm going to mix it up here first, get any chunks broken up. Alright, let's go get some water. So I usually add just enough water so that when you squeeze it, the soil holds together and no water comes out. This is looking pretty good. I might add just a tiny bit more water. There's still a few chunks in here that need to be broken up. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. Do the squeeze test one more time. So you can hear a kind of squishy noise. That's a good sign, and especially if no water comes out when you squeeze it, that's perfect. If I did want to mention one other thing, I don't add it to the soil mix yet, but this is a fertilizer that I've been using this year for my figs. It's a Ivy Organics brand, and it's got 6 macro nutrients, and it's also got some micronutrients as well. So it's a really good all-purpose fertilizer that you can get online. So I'm really liking this so far. You can also use it as a foliar spray if you soak it in some water. So let's go ahead and fill up our container. So this is the container that I'm going to be using. It's a 1.72 gallons. So I would pot probably in a pot that's either 1 to 2 gallons. So this should be just perfect. Let me get my gloves on. So we're gonna go ahead and fill this guy up. So just pat it down lightly. You don't want to fill it all the way to the top because we need to leave a little bit of space. I'm gonna put some wood chips around the top, and that will keep the moisture in so you don't have to water as often. All right, let's go get our cup. So what I like to do is make a hole in the middle and just stick the cup right in the hole and push it down. And that will be the perfect size for our fig so we don't damage the roots. Alright, so that's a perfect hole that has exact same size as our fig cutting. And now we're going to very carefully remove the fig from the cup. And you can see there are a few roots that are sticking out the bottom, so we'll try not to damage those. I'm gonna take my gloves off so we could be a little more careful here, and just give the cup a squeeze gently, and then gently see if we can pull that out. So I didn't have to pull at all, it just fell right out, and it all stayed together because there's a nice root mass in here. So you don't have to break it up, it's not too root bound. So just very gently put it in the hole, and it fits just right. And then brush any dirt that might have fallen on the leaves. Alright, so now I'm gonna get a little bit of wood chips to put around the top. So this will keep it from drying out as quickly because the wood chips will hold in the moisture. Now I'm going to keep this pot in the shade for a couple of days just to help it recover from the transplanting, and it should be good to go. And it should be able to stay in this container for another year or two before having to repot it again. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.